Mr. Koutras. By the way, members, I should probably announce that Mr. Koutras, for the 17th time, is retiring at the end of this month as the former county executive of Santa Clara County and somebody who's represented the 5 Delta counties in their coalition activity for what, Don, 18 months, 19 months?
We've seen him a counting, lot. But it's 21.
21. Yeah. Not that you're counting. 21 months. He has promised to appear and sit through all of our future meetings for the next year, which I thought was really terrific, and we look forward to it. Mr. Koutras.
Mr. Chair, as always, thank you for embarrassing me before I comment on the Delta plan. I will say, just on that general topic, yes, Doug Brown will be taking over on behalf.
Is he still here?
He went over to a BDCP meeting.
Okay.
He will be taking over and will ably represent the counties before you, I'm sure. I have enjoyed the time here, I will say, and I've shared this with many of you, that I think the council has gone out of its way to have a very open, transparent, and good process. I don't like what you've decided and on many of the issues, but I think you have really gone above and beyond in terms of involving the public, putting information out, be willing to engage in the hard discussions, and along with your staff, Joe and Chris and Terry McCauley and many, many others, Eric Nichols, et cetera. I think that's important. In that vein, as you begin to look at the 6th draft and move towards implementation, there are 4 points I want to emphasize, and listening to the presentation this morning, and I think the presentation and recapping where we've been, I think is a valuable exercise to look at the evolution of the plan. On page 11 of Agenda Item 9, Attachment 1, I want to focus on the last arrowhead on that page that says that there's been important changes in the draft. Very important to note that what remains and key steps by which the council will implement the covered action consistency determination process. The covered action process still remains problematic, and the counties are the focal point of that. We still, to this date, do not, A, understand, B, believe we have a workable process, and C, don't see any way out of the thicket just yet. The conversations are ongoing, but we do have a lot of work to do in the covered actions, and that remains before you and remains before the counties. One of the biggest conundrums is the integration of your, I think it's GP1, or General Policy 1, and the CEQA guidelines. And the situation we're in is a potential project may be, by California law, under CEQA, a categorically exempt project. It moves along, and we come and see that, okay, it does fall as a covered action based on some definitions. We go to submit it, and your current checklist says we have to certify to you that it's mitigated any environmental impacts. So we're left with a CEQA categorically exempt project, which means we have no environmental impact study, and now standing before you on a consistency determination. So does that mean, and this is not a question to be answered today, does that mean we have to back up and say, even if it's a categorically exempt project, we have to require an EIR? And that's one example of the things we're trying to work through. And I think that's a continuing struggle. Second issue, make no mistake, the counties, the special districts, the cities within the Delta are concerned about Delta levees and in risk avoidance and improving levees because we believe even if the Grand Canal is built someday, or tunnel, you must rely upon this levee system in the near term. And ultimately, we believe it'll be a dual conveyance system if some canal is built. So the levies are extremely important, and I just wanted to reemphasize that based on comments today. Two more quick points. On the coordination issue and the discussion, Ms. Marcus raised it again today. I would just ask you to think a little more globally about the coordination and not just limit your thought to state agency coordination, that you look at a bully pulpit and a proactive role, not only state agency coordination, but how do you work with the counties, the cities, the reclamation districts as you're moving the Delta Plan forward?
As you know from reading the bill, we have statutory authorization on the state agency coordination.
I thought there was, I don't have it in front of me, I apologize, I left my booklet.
But give some thought in this, before you leave, to the notion of what a local collaborative process would look like. We've talked about this before, and there are a couple of hints, I think, in the Delta Economic Sustainability Plan, but it would be really terrific to have an idea presented from local agencies. I understand that we got derailed on that because you wanted to see an idea from us first and respond to it. But the practicality...
Yeah, you go first kind of thing.
Yeah, but the practicality on this one is that we got a lot of work to do and we can spend only so much energy. And if the local agencies are interested in that, and I think they are, the notion of some generalized idea, I think the council would be open to that. It's not a mandatory action, but give us something to think about and a structure. I understand the tactics of negotiation, but it seems to me if we wait to resolve all the other issues before dealing with this one, we won't give it the time it deserves.
I'll certainly tell Mr. Brown to work on that for you.
Before you leave at the end of this month.
Time's running.
Thank you, Mr. Koutras.
The last item is just a request that you be gentle, that you be open when you start the discussion on the economic sustainability plan from the DPC. Much effort has gone into that from the DPC. It's been a not easy process to develop that. And I realize that it'll now go through a culling process with you. But it is the best effort of the Delta to put forth a plan to survive and to prosper and meeting the charge and the policy goals of the Delta Reform Act. So I'd ask you to, my preference would be that you just take it up wholesale and make it a chapter in the plan and off we go. That may not occur, I understand, but I'd ask you to the extent you can to bring in most of it into the Delta Plan.
I'm tempted to appoint Mr. Fiorini as chair of our subcommittee on gentleness and openness. I like the phrase.
So those are my comments, and again, thank you as always.
Thank you, and we're going to miss you. That's actually true.
Well, you're very kind. I will, as I've told others, I will miss the people. I won't miss the issue. Thank you.
Or the meetings.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Pete. Okay. All right. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on the last item that we've just heard? Okay. Let's move on the agenda.